Alrighty. All right. We're just waiting. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Just waiting for people to come on in while we are waiting. Hello. It's good to see you guys. Hi. Feel free to leave a comment, say hello. Um, I will let you know you can comment whatever you need to comment, and I can display your comments on the screen, and we can converse, we can chat. Um, so we will be here to converse and to chat about Pear Deck and Google Slides. I'm gonna start going through the stuff for Google Slides first, and then I'm gonna go through the stuff for Pear Deck second, and then I'm gonna leave some time at the end because I know that there was some music education educators who also wanted to go through some things. So let me see. Let me try to share my screen while we're waiting. Hello, hello. Put your put your name in the chat. Well, you don't have to put your name in chat, but just you're welcome to say hi. I'm so used to saying that with my students now that I'm saying that to you guys. I'm sorry. Okay. Let's see if I can share this over here. So we'll be ready. We are ready to go, but we'll be getting ready to get started in just a minute. I see you guys coming on in. What you see on the screen is you see a sample lesson that we're going to be working through at the end. So I teach music, so we are going to work through a music lesson at the end, and we're going to collaboratively build a Pear Deck. Actually, kind of a little bit throughout. We're going to kind of work on it throughout, and then but we're going to collaboratively build the questions at the end of today's session. So we're starting now. I'll be on until 7. We are going to finish with the main stuff at 6. So at 6, if you need to hop off, you're welcome to hop off. But if you want to stick around and you want to build the rest of the lesson with us, you're more than welcome to. And I'll be able, I'm going to leave time for questions that you all may have about Peer Deck as well. I will definitely. So this doc that I'm in right now, I'm going to share this with you all in the chat so that you can kind of look along at this, like, while we're building it. Okay. So I am dropping that in the chat right now. Good morning. Good morning. Well, not good morning. Good afternoon. Hi, Francine. It's very nice to see you. Hello, hello, hello. All right. So in the chat, that's the link to the document. That is the link to the document that I'm on. You're welcome to go on there if you want to. You don't have to go into that. You're welcome to go on to the Pear Deck in a minute as well. All right. I'm going to share my screen with you guys so that um, you all can log into the Peer Deck activity. I'm going to stop sharing this. Hi, everybody. It's wonderful to see you guys. And we're going to work through, um, I'm going to introduce a little bit of Google Slides because I really feel like it's good to have a good understanding of Google Slides so that you can build your own lesson. And then we're going to move into Peer Deck. We won't stay at Google Slides for too long, but um, we are going to stop at it for a minute. Hmm. Okay, so there is our Peer Deck code. I'm going to do the same thing with you all that I would do with my students. What I'm going to do is you can either log in on joinpd.com, NOZPMA, or I'm going to actually click right here where it says give students a link. I'm going to click that and it says link copy to clipboard. I'm going to drop that right in the chat and you can log in right away. That's the same thing that I would do with my students. Um, you can choose to log in with your Google, or you can just kind of just log in. So you don't have to log in with your Google. You just log in, and an animal or something will come up. I see that you guys are starting to join because it's letting me know that you are starting to join. Sorry, you guys. So what are some things that you already know about Google Slides? and you can answer that right now in the chat. What are some things you already know? Yes. I don't think I officially said hello, Don, but hello, Don. Welcome to you as well. Very happy and very excited to have you guys on. All right. So I'm going to go to the bottom of my screen right now and I'm going to show your responses and then we're going to work through. Okay. So they're editable in real time. You're absolutely right. And thank you for letting me know that you can't hear me. I figured it out. So, and as you can see, like as people write, you can still see what they're writing. Can use to create lesson presentation materials, independent interactive student practice materials, and virtual worksheets for students. Yep, absolutely. You can learn, how to make a basic presentation, adding slides, and applying a theme to a presentation. Okay. It works similarly to PowerPoint, works with Google Classroom, absolutely works very well with all of the G Suite products. How to make one, how to embed a YouTube video in one. Very good. Because there are a lot of people who don't know how to embed the YouTube video either. And we are going to talk about that too for a moment. Okay, so I'm going to hide your responses again. Okay. So there are a few things that we are going to talk through tonight while we talk about Google Slides. Google Slides is absolutely a wonderful G Suite application that you can use. That you can absolutely use for working with your students in class. Is a great way to have interactive lessons. So you can have back channel discussions with it, even just it by itself. So it's a great G Suite tool. It's a way to engage all of your learners, especially if you are remote or if you are hybrid. Um, I'm going to go on to the next slide in the lesson right now. So I'm just giving a quick warning. We're going to move on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so in this lesson, we will learn the basics of Google Slides, learn the basics of Pear Deck, and find engaging ways to use both platforms together. Okay, so how to use Google Slides. So the first thing that you want to know is you want to know how to create a presentation. There are 3 ways that you can create a presentation. You can either create a presentation at the Google Drive page by opening the slide screen at drive.google.com. And I'm going to do that on this screen, and then I'm going to come back to this. I can go to drive.google.com. And from there, I can hit add new. And then I can click more. Uh-oh. I let my app show up. That's okay. I'll go to this other one. I'm just going to share my entire screen with you guys so that you all don't have to worry about that. Don't talk about all my tabs. I got 1,000 tabs open. So, and I see some of you all also answer some of the questions in the chat. That's super awesome. That is great. Okay. So, as I was saying, you can go to drive.google.com. You can click add new. And then you have your apps there. You can click Google Slides and you can create a new presentation. You can have to do a blank presentation or you can do a presentation from a template. And they give you a lot of really nice and awesome templates that you can use for your students in your class. That's one way. Another way is to go to slides.google.com and you can create a new presentation right here at the top. The third way is to go to slides.google.com and then /create, and it will create a brand new presentation for you as soon as you go there. So now we're going to go back to the Pear Deck lesson that we were working in. So those are 3 ways that you can actually get into it. You already have the join code. All right. So editing and formatting a presentation. So you can add, edit, or format text. You can insert and arrange text shapes and lines. You can add or delete and organize slides. This has been really, really great for me because there were a lot of worksheets that I had. I had a lot of really old, great worksheets for choir for my students. That really had a lot of valuable information, but they were kind of boring to look at for students. They weren't engaging. But the text was valuable. So I was able to transfer that information over to a slideshow. If you don't know about this already, there's a website called PDF to Go. And if you have the right slideshow, you can, not slideshow, if you have the right PDF file, then you can actually convert it to a text file, and then you can just drop that text right on over to your slideshow. You can make your text file and then just copy and paste it right on over. And then of course, just checking for any spelling errors that may have occurred when it converted to a text file. All right, so you can insert, arrange text, shapes, and lines. You can add, delete, and organize slides. So this is our sample slideshow. I wanted to make sure that I talked through anything that we needed to talk through. So these are some basic slides that I had that I hadn't touched in a long time, like in a few years. As you can see, I have text in here, have images in here. You can easily insert an image by going over to, let's say I want to insert like a little music symbol there so that my students can see that. I can go to insert and go to image. I can go to search the web, or I can upload from my computer, but right now I'm going to search the web because it's easy. And then I'm going to type in the symbol that I'm looking for. I'm going to choose the one that I want, picture that I want. Let's do that one. And then I'm just going to drag it over. I can either drag it over and it will appear, or if I click it and I click insert down there, then it'll appear as well. As you can see, I've added text. If you need to add additional text boxes for anything, then you can click the little T that's next to the mouse button, and then you can drag it out to the size that you want it to be. You can type right in that text box. And of course, like the basic functions that you have in any other word processing program, you can make the text bold, you can make it bigger. All right. There are some other things that you can do as well. So this is boring, right? This is not engaging to a student. This right here it's nice, it has information on it, has everything that we need for the lesson, but it's not engaging. It doesn't really, it's not going to capture my interest visually because it's black and white. So one thing that I can do, I can actually, like someone said earlier, I can add in text, I can add in images, I can add in videos as well. So I want to make this more engaging. I want to add in videos. On this slide, I don't have any videos on this side. I want to introduce treble clef. Now this is one option that we'll talk about later, but I could also add a video. So I can go to insert, I can go to video, and then I can look up a video on the Grand Staff. I can click it and then click select, and then my video is already embedded. And that's playable. It's not playable on Pear Deck unless you have an extension. And I'm going to show you what that extension is in a minute as we continue to talk through this slide in the Pear Deck lesson. So in the past, what I used to do before I realized what I could do is I would just put the YouTube link at the bottom. I just copy the URL. So if I have those on some presentations, some of you guys may do that as well. If I have those and I'm not sure of how to embed the link, I'm just gonna make that a little bit smaller. What I did to make that smaller was hit Control, and then I hit the Control Shift, and I hit the greater than sign. Okay. Now I'm going to go to Insert. Now I'm going to go down to Video again. Instead of going to Search, I'm going to go to By URL. I'm going to paste that URL in there that I copied or put, and then I'm going to select that video. And now that video can actually be seen on the screen. Okay. I know some of you all knew that. I know some of you all may not have known how to do that. But now the video can be seen on the screen. All right. You can also use add-ons to make your presentation more exciting. So certain links a lot is not necessarily to make it more exciting. That's one that you can use to copy correctly. You can use to share and copy correctly. Pear Deck Power Up is a really, really good one. That's one that we're going to talk about and install today. Bitmoji, of course, is one that you can use to add Bitmojis to your slideshow. So if I wanted to, I go to my Bitmoji and I could type in anything. I could type in pose, type in happy. Any of these things. And of course, if it doesn't have a graphic for it, it will make up graphics. If I just type in random keys, it's going to make up a graphic for those random keys. Okay. So once I choose one, the same way I did with the Google Slides and with the Google search, I can click it and I can drag it over and it will come over to the presentation. If I didn't want it on the slide, I can hit Control X or whatever you do on your device. If you have a MacBook, I'm not sure what you do on a MacBook, but I can hit Control X and then I can paste it to the slide that I want to be on. If I want to add a slide, I can hit the plus for new slide. And let me know if I'm going too fast, if I'm talking too much. Another So you can also use Nearpod. You can also use Pear Deck for Google Slides. Pear Deck for Google Slides is going to be imperative for you to download in order to do the Pear Deck stuff. And we're going to talk about that as we go on further into the presentation. So I can also change the theme. So I can click right here where it says theme, and that's not going to show up if I'm clicking anything else on the slide. So if I click like the part that's outside of the slide box, and then I click on theme, I can actually choose different themes, and it will change the way that the slides look. The other cool thing is this. If I decide to change one of the colors for the slides, then when I go through the rest of the themes, it tries to match. So if I choose one of these theme colors, then when I flip through the themes again, now all those ones that were like white before, they're now different colors because I changed which theme color I'd use for the background of the slide. So if you choose a theme color, and you start to flip through the slides again, all those ones that have white backgrounds are not going to have white backgrounds anymore if that slide's theme color has changed. So that's a cool thing that you can do. If I like that for all of them, then I can go hit background and I can hit add to theme. Now they all have that background color. So those are some ways that you can make them interesting. You can also change the background colors of your text boxes. You can change the coloring of your text as well. I would be mindful with the colors that I use because some of your students may be colorblind. And so you want to make sure that they are of a palette that are easy for your students to use. I'm going to add to this presentation at the end, not today, but not while we're working right now, but at the end, I'm going to add in a way that you can actually, some palettes that you can use to help you to work with students that may be colorblind and may not be able to see those differences in color. You can also add shadows to make things pop a little bit. Sometimes on certain backgrounds, it's hard to see text, but if you add a little bit of a shadow behind it, then it'll kind of pop a little bit more and it'll make it easier to see. And what we want our students to be able to see and to understand the material. All right, so those were the things that I really wanted to talk about with Google Slides. I am going to go back over and we'll see if there are any questions about Google Slides. Okay, it's the same on the MacBook. Okay. You can write in the chat right now if you have any questions about Google Slides. Are there any questions about anything that we talked about with Google Slides so far? And I'll kind of give a few seconds for that. It's okay, we'll come back to it. All right, cool. All right, so I'm going to keep going. Okay, and then the third step is that you want to share it with others. So you want to share your files and your folders with other people so that they can view, edit, or comment. So the same way that I did at the beginning of the lesson, you can go right on over. You can hit the share button here, and then you can hit get link. You can change who is able to view it. So I can change it between anyone to restrict it, meaning that only people who I have added on as a collaborator can join, or I can change it to be anybody with the link. Anybody on the entire website, anybody on the entire interwebs that has the link can use it. Another way that I can do it is by going over here to share. Go to file, hit share, same thing. Now, if I have a show and I don't want anybody to bother my slideshow to copy it or anything like that, what I can do is I can hit that little settings wheel right there. And if I don't want editors to share my work with anybody else, I can unclick that. If I don't want viewers and commenters to be able to download, print, and copy, I can unclick that. And now anybody who's a viewer, they can't copy my work. This is really, really good if you want to share something with students and you don't want them to be able to download it or to copy it. Okay. Maybe you're doing a presentation and you want to do like a virtual talent show and students are adding in videos and you don't want them to be able to download anybody's work when they're viewing it. Unclick that. And of course, students can still record the screen. But if there's anything that you don't want, you can use those two permissions to make sure that people who you don't want to take your work to make sure that they can't do it. So, but I'm going to leave these checked because I'm sharing this with you. All right. So now how to use Pear Deck. Okay. So we're going to add the Google Slides add-on. You have to do that first. So the first thing that you're going to do is open the Pear Deck add-on through the add-ons menu. That's the first thing that you want to do if you haven't done that already. So you're going to go to add-ons, get add-ons, and you're going to search for Pear Deck. Mine is already up there because I have it, but you search for Pear Deck. And then you would click it, and then you could install it right there. I'm not going to uninstall it, but you could click install right there. And then you would have Pear Deck as an add-on. Okay. Now, if you've never used Pear Deck, they give you a 30-day free trial. Okay. So that's one good thing. If not, you might be if you already use it, then you might be using the free version right now, and that's okay too. All right, so once I have that installed, now I want to talk to you all about the different types of slides. So we're going to stay over here on the screen for a second, and then we're going to come back to our presentation as we go. Okay, so the first type of slide that you have is a text slide. On a text slide, what you can do is you can have students long or short responses like we did at the very beginning when I asked you about what it is that you already knew about Google Slides. You were able to type in there. You could also type in on this slide if you wanted to. We don't really have to type in on this slide today, but this is just an example slide of what a text slide would be like. So you could pose if you're reading aloud with your students on Google Meets, then you could go to the very next screen, or if you had like a book on YouTube that was already being read aloud. There are a lot of nice interactive books on YouTube that are already read aloud. You could add that to your lesson, and then you could ask your students to write about how they think that student in that child in the story feels at that moment. And that's a good way to also do a quick SEL check with your students to see where they are. The next type of slide that we have a choice slide. So there is a multiple choice slide. So on a multiple choice slide, you can actually use it for either a poll or for a multiple choice question, okay? And so you can use it for assessment or you can use it for surveying your students. And I use it for both. Sometimes I use it for surveying, sometimes I use it for a poll and for assessment. I'm gonna let you all answer that question. So would you be more likely to use it as a poll or as a multiple choice question? And then we're going to go back to that slideshow and we're going to find some places where we could use the text question and where we could use the multiple choice question in the Pear Deck slideshow. So I'm going to take a look at your responses that you have right now. So most of you all said you'll probably use it as a multiple choice question. Some of you all said you'll use it as a poll. Oh, okay. So there are a few more. And as you can see, it updates in real time. You can go back and forth. Now, it's not going to grade for you. It will not grade it for you, but it will give you an idea of what your students know because you can actually, we'll talk about the fact that you can export your information as a Google Sheet. And I'll show you a sample of that. All right, so coming back over to this lesson, I'm going to click on add-ons. I'm going to click on Pear Deck for Google Slides add-on, and I'm going to click on Open Pear Deck add-on. All right. I'm just going to share this tab for right now. So we're just going to look at that one tab. And as we flip through the rest of the Pear Deck lesson, we are going to be using it, but it won't come up on the screen right now. So we will be using the rest of that Pear Deck lesson that I have up there, but we will not be seeing it on the screen. Okay. So we are in this tab. You can see that we have our Pear Deck extension open over there to the side because I just want to be able to also see your comments, see if you all have any questions or if you need anything while we're going through. From here, I can choose a text question. So I have some things that I want my students to learn about with the treble clef. I want them to be able to identify and articulate the difference between the treble clef and bass clef and the grand staff. This is not a lesson that I would do day one with them learning about the treble clef. So this would be something that we would be doing further into a unit. So I may want to assess what they already know. So that might be what I want to do from the beginning. So I could create a text slide. So I can hit slide, new slide, and I could type in, what do you already know? I could type in, what do you already know about the treble clef? That could be the first thing that we start with. I could also ask them, because my objective is to have them to identify and articulate the differences between the treble and bass clefs and the grand staff. I could also ask them just to see what they already know. Sorry. That's what I get for typing fast. But what are some similarities and differences between the treble clef and bass clef? That could be one of the questions. So I can type in that question. Once I've typed in my slide, then I can just click where it says, up underneath where it says ask student a question, and I can click on text. This is going to just explain to me what I need to do. So it's kind of showing me what it would look like on a student device, what it would look like on a classroom projector. And hit update slide. And now at the bottom of that slide, I should not delete that. If I leave that there, now this slide is interactive for Pear Deck. Now this can work in Pear Deck. They will see the question here, and the only thing that Pear Deck does is it gives them a space to answer it. So you're using the slideshow that you already have, and you're just adding different elements of Pear Deck so that they can like use it and function over to the side. So Pear Deck is not like Nearpod in the sense that when you go through and you edit, it makes it specific. You put your specifics on the slide yourself. And then Pear Deck is just like, okay, answer the question here in this way. That's all that it does. So, which I think is pretty good because I can actually customize everything that I want to do. Anything that I want to do on these slides, I can customize. I can make it how I want to look. I can put things where I need them to go, and it's good to go. So, what are some similarities? Basically, I want students to write their response there. Then for the multiple choice, I could add in, I could add in a question about what are the lines of the treble clef, or what are the spaces of the treble clef. You can also look at your template library. So if I wanted to add in a choice slide, I could go to the template library and I could click. I can look at some of those during the lesson assessments that they have. And I can see if I find one that I like. So maybe I just want to do a quick true and false slide. So I can click that slide. It will show up in the slideshow after the slide that I had up. So I just got through talking to my students about this. So I'm going to copy that text and I'm going to paste it right there. I have a quick true or false check. If I actually went in and I looked at these, then I could see that it actually says, true and false. So if I go to click choice, it's going to show me those options right there for that one. So right now my two choices are true and false. I could change them if I wanted to, but I don't really want to change those right now. The next type of slide we have number slides. So I have an example of a number slide. You don't have to use that number slide, but that's just an example of one. A number slide, students are going to actually put in a number. So you could use that for a math problem. You could use that for like the one that you see in your Pear Deck right now, where it's talking about what's the estimated population of Australia. The students could use that in a geography class. You could use that for so like in the music class, like we're gonna probably do in this slideshow. You could actually create a new slide. You could ask students how many lines are on the staff, right? How many lines are on the staff? That's a number. And then all I have to do is click number while I'm on this slide. It's going to explain to me some stuff about, just to remind me of what this is going to look like. On the student device, they're going to type in the number. On the projector, it's going to come up as a dot that shifts back and forth. I'm going to click add. And now I have a number. Students can enter a number on that device. I could also very easily use this, use text right there too, and allow students to write the word 4 out if I wanted them to write the word 4 out, or if I wanted to write the word 5, because we're dealing with the lines. So if I want them to write the word 5 out for the lines, then I could very easily just put that in there. All right, so we could also have a website slide, like what you see in front of you. And these are really, really good because Just like we talked about, the Google Slides can be interactive, you could actually have your students collaborate on a slide through Pear Deck if you share that shareable link, like the one that I shared with you. If you put that shareable link into a website slide, then students could collaborate on a PowerPoint or a Google slide together. The one that I share with you is actually a website that links to different templates for Google Slide presentations to give you a whole lot more options. So a website slide could be used to allow students to go someplace else in the lesson. If you're getting tired like me of putting links in the chat all the time, or kind of, repeat to students where certain things are in Google Classroom during the lesson. I can't find it in Google Classroom. It's up underneath week 6. I can't find week 6. Week 6 comes right before week 5. Oh, thank you, Kay. I found week 6. If you don't feel like going through that, you can put it right here in the Pear Deck lesson, and now they can access the link. So what I do want to know from you are what are some links that you could have students explore in your classroom while you're typing that, while you are adding some links that you could have students explore in your classroom, but you might give some ideas to some other people. I'm going to, in our lesson, I'm going to go back to that slide with the grand staff. I'm actually going to move this video that I put there. I'm going to put that on another slide, put that on this one. Come back over here, and I am going to cut this link, Control X. I'm just going to very quickly change that background to make it a little bit more interesting for students. I can't see that text now, so I'm going to click on that text box, find a little paint fill color right there. I'm going to click that. I know I'm moving fast, and if I'm moving fast, just let me know. And now it has a color to it, and I'm going to add my Bitmoji. You can't see me adding the Bitmoji right now because I'm just sharing my I'm not sharing everything. I'm just sharing my tab with you and not the whole screen. But I just went over to Bitmoji and I dragged it like I showed you all earlier. And I'm adding a little Bitmoji right there just to make it a little bit more interesting. Now I'm going to go to where it says website, where you see the www. Students ask a question. I'm clicking on. I also kind of did that to kind of stall and give you some time in case you wanted to like look at the screen. I'm going to make this text nice and big so my students can see it. Click on the www. And I'm going to paste the link that I had. Oh, wait. Oh, you copied the wrong thing. Okay. And if I don't see my link anymore, that's all okay. All I have to do is, so when I moved the Bitmoji over, it copied that link, which is okay. All I have to do is hit undo a few times, get my slide back to where it was. I'm just going to copy. I'm not going to touch anything else. I'm going to hit copy. And then I'm going to redo everything that I did before. Okay. And so now I'm going to go back to the website thing like I was. Click on the website. And I'm going to paste that link in there that I wanted. And now I'm going to update that slide. And now at the bottom of that slide, you see the website there. So the students can actually go to that website directly from the Pear Deck lesson. What it will look like for them is they will see the slide on one side, and then they will see the website on the other side. Okay. So, book trailers for class novels, Quizlet flashcards for vocabulary. I mean, those are really, really good. And actually, Pear Deck has a flashcard factory as well. The xylophone will be great. As a matter of fact, I might actually add it to this lesson as well. So there's a xylophone that somebody put in the chat. And I wouldn't necessarily use it on this slide, but I'm just going to paste it on the slide for right now. And sometimes they don't all work. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So this one's not working out for us right now, but there's a workaround for that as well. If I have a website that's not working on the website thing, because we're going to use Pear Deck Power Up in a second, I can very easily just take that and I can just put that link directly on the slide like I had it before. So we'll do a new slide. Because she had a link with a xylophone, what we're going to do is, well, I'll walk through that later. I'll walk through what we'll do with the xylophone links. I want to make sure that we go through the rest of the Pear Deck stuff right now. Okay, so next is the drawing slide. So students can actually use a slide to draw anywhere on the presentation as well. So you could use this for a map of understanding what's going on in the reading. So like the one that is on your screen right now, you would have a map with the main idea, and then students can actually draw the could actually start to type in. They could use the typing function on there to type in their answers about so what was the main sentence for this and what were the supporting sentences for that. You could use that in any classroom because we all have ways to have our students to actually analyze text and to create arguments for text. So you could use that in any classroom. Here's another drawing slide. This one could be for a science class. You could also use this in any class where you would have to have a diagram. Where you could have students to actually label by putting in words in that word bank, and then they could draw a line to go to whatever part of that that creature or that thing that you have for them to take a look at. So if it's an object, like a so for me it would be a guitar, might be parts of a trumpet, might be parts of the human voice. For someone who is in a PE class, it might be even like a diagram of the court and going through where certain players would be on the court. So they could actually draw by writing in the names directly on those lines, or like I was saying before, they could also like draw a line to those places using the words as well. You just want to make sure that you're specific in your directions with what you want your students to do. On the and there are two others. I think I'm going to just put this presentation on student pace mode for you guys. So I'm going to turn on student pace mode so you all can go through that at your own leisure. So what I would do for a drawing slide, I may want my students to actually draw one of these notes. So I would go to slide, new slide, or actually, you know what? Better yet, let's use a slide that we already have in the presentation. So we have this slide here. That's going to be difficult for my students to see. And the slideshow changed it to be that way because I changed the theme. I don't like that. So I'm going to change. It's not going to help if I change background because that purple is going to just keep showing up at the bottom because that's the way it is. That's the way that page is in that theme. So I'm going to go to layout and I'm going to click blank. It's not going to remove anything that I have there already. So this used to be a slide where I have students go to access a worksheet, but this gives the steps for drawing the treble clef. So I can ask students to, instead of please complete the worksheet and trace the treble clef, I can just ask them to trace the treble clef directly in here. So I can go, please trace treble clef. And then I can click on draw. Draw is a premium feature. I'm going to show you how to use it, even if you don't have premium features. If you don't have premium features, then this is what you do. You go to the template library. You go looking around. Oh, look, there's a drawing slide. It has nothing to do with my lesson, but I'm going to add it. Okay, so I'm going to add this drawing slide to my lesson. Bam. Pear Deck slides are completely customizable. So I'm going to take this slide. I'm going to delete all that. And that at the bottom. Students can still draw anywhere on the slide. I'm going to drag my mouse across all of that. That's right, I added two because it was, my computer was lagging. I'm going to drag my mouse across that, hit cut, hit paste. Now that's a drawing slide, even if I don't have premium. Wow, look at that. That drawing slide working without premium. Okay. So now I can use this as a drawing slide, and I can have my students to draw anywhere on this slide. Okay. That's one way to do it. Okay. And then if you are perusing through the show, there's another slide with bar lines that comes behind that slide. If you guys go to if you all can go to slide number 21, and if you all could just write about some of the ways that you could use a drawing slide in your classroom, that would be really helpful because I want us to make sure that we collaborate and we're working together with some things. All right, so we're going to continue to go on through. Okay. Can you guys hear me, by the way? I just want to be clear. Can y'all hear me? Somebody just type yes or no in chat. I just want to be clear. I want to make sure you all can hear me. I want to make sure that everybody has what they need. Everybody can get what they got to get. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna keep on going. The last type of slide we're going to talk about is the draggable slide. Okay, cool. I can see it. So last type of slide we're going to talk about is the draggable slide. And with the draggable slide, what you can do is you can actually move through. You can actually move little dots around on your presentation session. So I'll add some of the ones that I know that I've seen to this presentation. I'm not going to add them to be like an actual part of the presentation, but just to kind of give you some examples of some draggables. And there are a ton of free draggable slides. So for math, let me go back. Maybe it's up underneath the littles. But there was a math draggable slide. There it is. Where the draggables are actually um, equation marking. So you have your plus sign, you have your minus sign, you have your equal sign, and you will put those where they belong in the equations that are listed on the screen. There's also, there are other examples of draggable slides, of course, for social studies of world languages. I'm sure there's going to be a map one in here. So you all can actually, have students to do, if you're having them study cultures of the world, you can have, or even at the beginning of the year, like I do with my students, I have my students to just mark where their families were from at the beginning of the year, so I can know for CRT some things that I could add in. So that's another type of draggable slide, and students could actually drag those icons. You have different examples of draggable slides in your presentation. For this lesson, you could do a draggable slide with a music template. And Pear Deck does have music templates. I don't think that they have them here, but they do have templates for music as well. They have them on their website. So you have to actually go to their website and open up an example of the draggable slide. But I'm just going to make the draggable slide from one of their templates that they already have. So I'm going over here, find the draggable that I want. I prefer a circle for what I'm getting ready to do. I can add that draggable slide on, and I can actually create a staff, take a picture of a staff, insert image, search the web, staff, and I could have students to drag that dot to where it would belong, like it's a music note. The cool thing with the draggables, because I'm using a I'm actually using a premium trial right now. Cool thing with the draggables is that there are multiple kinds of draggables. So they're all different kinds. There is not just a dot. If I click on draggable, there are dots, and I can have multiple different types. So I'm just going to delete those other ones there. But I can add as many as I need to. I could change the color by clicking on that little square. But I can also change the type by clicking on that drop down. So I can make it a heart. I can make it a triangle going to the right. I can make it any type of math symbol that I need it to be. I could make it an actual number. I could make it a person, place, or thing. And you can have almost as many as you would like. Okay. You can change how big or how small that draggable is going to be on your screen. I just just wanted to make sure that I expressed that because I know that there was somebody had a question about that a few days ago. They inboxed me and asked me about it, so I wanted to make sure that I addressed that with you guys. I want that to be big enough to fit on the line, but also not too big to where is it like would overlap. So now I have my draggable slide that I made in Peer Deck. Now you can't change the type of icon if you don't have premium, but you can use a draggable. If you don't have premium, you can still use a draggable. What are your questions about Peer Deck? I want you all to put any questions that you have about Peer Deck in the chat. Let me know if this is helpful or not. I don't want to just be rambling just to be rambling now. But if this is helpful, then I'm glad that it's helpful. And if you all have any questions, I want to answer whatever questions that you have. I'm gonna stop student pace just for a second. And that's one thing I do like about Peer Deck over Nearpod. There are some things that I like about Nearpod. There are things that I love about Nearpod. There are things that I love about Peer Deck. One thing that I love about Peer Deck though is that I can just easily switch between student pace mode and teacher mode. Okay. Do you all have any questions about Peer Deck that you would like to have answered? Any specifics, any ways that you're looking to use it in your classroom that I didn't talk about? And while you are typing, you can type that into the chat. While you are typing that in the chat, I'm going to try to pull up 2 lessons of my own to kind of show you. Hey, Jeremy. So you can see each student's individual answer. It usually comes up as like just a big old blurb of everybody's answers at once. However, when you mouse over the answer, then you can see which student answered that. Let me see. So you can. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna pull up my Peer Deck account too while we're here. So one thing I like better about the Google stuff rather than the Pro. I love this program that we're using right now to talk and to share. They can't see each other's answers, no. So I use it all the time when students come in. I use it for a stress check when they come in the door. And I'm gonna see if I can find, not see if I can find, I'm gonna see if this lesson that I did today will come up. So again, question was, can students see each other's answers? They cannot, but I can, and I can choose to share their answers with them, or I can choose to keep them private. So while that is loading, I'm going to see if I can actually pull up another lesson really quickly while that is loading. But the answer is no, they can't see each other's answers. They can't see what the other person is doing. They can't if I go back, I don't think we answered any of the draggables together, but students can only see what they do. You can see what a student does. You'll see it in like a big pile of stuff, but you can actually mouse over what they've done, and then you can kind of, sort it out that way. No problem. All right. Does anybody else have any questions about anything specifically? Because if you do, just let me know. So this is my sessions tab. These are my sessions from earlier today. These are my sessions that are going on right now. Um, I'm gonna let that load. Internet's just running really, really slow today. But okay. So if if there are no other questions while that's coming up, and we will come back to that. But if there are no questions about anything, I do want you to look at this last slide. I want you to enjoy 90 free days of Pear Deck Premium by clicking that link. Okay. For those of you all who logged on to the presentation, okay, I want you to enjoy 90 free days of Pear Deck Premium. You can click that link. It's going to be good. If you are already using the 30-day trial, wait till it's up and then come back to this and enjoy 90 days. Don't use it right now. Wait till it finishes up and then use it later. Okay. So that's how we're going to do that. I do want to extend so if you have any questions, then we'll keep going um, with answering your questions. If you don't have any questions, then I'm going to continue to build while I wait on the computer to do what it needs to do. Okay. So I was going to ask you guys in the Pear Deck, and I'm going to go back a few slides in the Pear Deck lesson. So we're here in this lesson. Okay. And so now, like I was saying earlier, if you are a regular general teacher, you're free to go. But if you are a music teacher and you want to stick around, then we can talk for a minute. So what are some ways that you would generally address some of these standards, some of these objectives in your classroom? And then we'll talk about how we can address them using Pear Deck. So what are some ways that you would usually get students to identify the treble and the bass clef pitches in your classroom? What are some things that you would use in your classroom? And you can write those in the chat, and then we'll just continue to um, work through together and edit together. So, and I'll put the objective in the chat again. I'll put the objective in the chat, and you are welcome to. So, what are some ways that you would identify the purpose, the specific pitches of ledger lines for treble clef and bass clef? How would you start to introduce ledger lines to students in your classes? What are some of the first things that you would do? What are some of the activities that you would do with students if you were not dealing with COVID times? And we'll talk about how we can convert some of those over. All right. Um, so I can also just go ahead on through and I can just continue to edit this myself and kind of talk through. But I would like your input. I would like your ideas um, as we're going through. And I'll also, like I said, I'll also share a few slideshows with you guys that I've done with students. All right, so I'm opening the one that we did this morning. So today, this is one that we did today. And I'll open that in one tab for you. And then I will also open this other slideshow for you so you all can see that one as well. So this one today, this was just a general step-by-step slideshow where I took students through. We did our stress check, like I talked about. And this is a Google Slide template. It's a Pear Deck template you can use. We did an SEL check-in. All these moving graphics and stuff, they actually do work. But in order to get them to work, you have to go to chrome.google.com. Actually, I'm going to look up Chrome Web Store. And I'm going to go to those extensions. And I'm going to look up Pear Deck. And when I pull up that Pear Deck Power Up extension, and I open up my presentations using that extension, it will actually work very well. Click Add to Chrome, Add Extension, and now my lessons will actually be able to use GIF files, and they can actually play the videos directly there in the Pear Deck lesson. Okay, like I was saying, so this is the one that we did from earlier. I gave students a choice as to we used the poll, the multiple choice option in order to choose what we were going to do for the day. And then once we had that chosen, I directed students to the lesson that we were going to use. Two of these are Nearpod lessons. And I just put the Nearpod link in the Pear Deck lesson, and they could go there directly from there. This one is a Pear Deck lesson. And I was able to put that link right in there. So I use website slides for these. I used a multiple choice slide for this one. And this one is also a website slide. It links to a Google form, which was a social emotional check-in with students. And this one, like I said before, this one was a template. And so I was able to just flow straight through my lesson, tell students good morning, get students to log in Pear Deck. When students were logged in, we did a stress check. After we did our stress check, we did an SEL check-in form with the website. After we did that, I reviewed note values for students live. Then we talked about choice. What would they like to do? Students who needed to review note values were able to review note values. Students who were ready to move on to learn about REST values, they went on to learn about REST values. And students who needed to catch up and to continue going through voice parts, they were able to do that as well. So I was able to give students choice for the asynchronous work, and I was able to work with students synchronously and to check in with them socially and emotionally all through Pear Deck. The other file that I was going to show you, and then if you are ready to, because I don't want to hold you. I know we've been here for a while. We've been here for a minute, so I don't want to hold you for too long. Another file that I did with students was this one, which actually came from a very, very old worksheet. And I was able to make it interactive. I was able to use the true or false slides with this, the ones that came with Pear Deck, and then to customize the backgrounds for those slides as well. Okay. Well, if there are no questions, then thank you so much. And I want you to have a great day. Have a great rest of your day.